The fact that the person is holding that position, whether they are young, they are old, or it's a female or male, it is a position that carries a certain level of authority. And that's where really the management function starts from. So when you're looking at management, there are a number of things that a person who's in management is expected to do, including issues to do with planning. We expect them to be able to sit down and say, where is the company going and where as a department or a section are we going? You expect them to also, organize themselves, the resources that they have, both the employees as well as maybe the financial resources they can be looking after, or the assets and things of that nature. They have to organize and make the best use of those resources so that the company can then achieve its goals. Then you are talking of also coordinating those resources, the people that are within the department or the section. You have to coordinate them to ensure that you achieve the targets that have been set for yourself or the section or the department that you are heading. You're also talking about issues of budgeting. The budgets that you have to run with as a manager or a supervisor at that point, you have to make sure that you are using the resources properly and understanding how the company wants to use its resources. Because sometimes even when you have a budget, based on the inflows, you may find that you may have to change certain ways in which you spend and things like that. So when you are really looking at management, things that we encourage, and again, this is a TV program. We might not be able to go. To be able to go into all the details. But during trainings, we spend a lot of time to break down everything. But one of the things that we encourage those who become now managers or leaders in an institution, first of all, understand the role itself. Okay, what is expected of you? Because sometimes, once you receive your letter of appointment, it's very exciting, you're celebrating and everything. But you need to sit down after all your celebrations. Sit down and ask yourself, what exactly am I expected to deliver in this role? Meaning that you need to be very clear about the targets. What are the expectations of your top management or your superiors? You can be appointed as manager or CEO or director. What is the expectation of the appointing authority? Is it very clear to you? Because sometimes you take up a role and you think it's just, because now I'm the boss. It's not just being a boss. There are expectations. So be very clear about the expectations of your superiors or the appointing authority. What is it that they want you to do? And they want you to do this at what time, with how much of the resources should be spent, and so on. That clear understanding of the objectives or the targets that have been given by the appointing authority becomes extremely important. The other thing to look at really is now the objectives of your section or your department. How are you structured? What is it that you are trying to achieve in that section? If you are in the HR section, what are you trying to achieve? If you are early, they start to understand what are the skills they need to have, how do they make decisions, how do they work with other people, how do they motivate others, how do they give feedback, how they monitor. There's all these things that they need to start learning. So if you have, as a business, you have a group of leaders or managers that you want to really promote, start investing in them. They start to learn and learn and learn. By the time they're even getting those promotions, they have been exposed to some of these things. Even when you promote them, you still don't leave them because we exposed you to some of these things. You continue reinforcing certain managerial behaviors, certain good leadership behaviors. That's why that support from top management is extremely important. And even when you are in top management, because when we talk about new managers, you can also be a new manager in a top management position. Even then, it is important that the institution gives support through training, but also the person themselves. Because sometimes institutions don't have time for that, or they have no programs. As an individual, you also need to, consciously start thinking of investing in improving you are going as a department or section, or the institution as a whole. So it's very, very important to understand the business of the employer. Sit down with your own superiors, read extensively if you have strategic plans. If you are at first, maybe you are just focusing on your own delivering on your own work. So let's say you are a journalist, your own job is just to go get the news and do it. At the point when you are now above, you have to now really understand how are the financials, where do we get this, how do we make plans, how do we make decisions. So depending on the level of your position, you really have to spend a lot of time understanding the business of the employer. Otherwise, you lead people nowhere. Once you understand the business of the employer very well, it means now you can gather everybody below you to work towards the achievement of the set goals of your employer.
Amazing. To our viewers who are watching Labor Matters right here on KBN TV, and we are looking at leadership skills for new managers. That is our topic of discussion for today. If you have questions, comments, or maybe contribution about our topic of discussion, please use the number which is right on your TV screen and get to send us those questions. You can also go on our Facebook page, which is KBN TV, and drop us a comment. We'll read them right here. Now, Mr. Kabanda, what are the key skills you would expect in a new boss promoted from being a mere team member to a leader? Other things like planning and delegating important?
Yes, so when you get that promotion, definitely you then have to sit down and look at the key requirements at a managerial level, like we did mention. The supervisor, because now I'm the new boss, you just give work, you walk away, you're relaxing, drinking coffee. No, you need to be there with a team, because as you are working, there'll be things that will be changing. Sometimes decisions are made at the top level, or as the juniors are working, they run into problems. When they run into problems, you need to be there to sit down with them, discuss some possible solutions. Again, we are not saying that you are the one to provide all solutions. That's not what we are saying. But provide an environment in which you and your team could actually find solutions. Sometimes, and many times actually, solutions come from your own juniors. The issue is, how do you make sure that the juniors feel safe to even suggest solutions? Because sometimes as a boss, you'll be there and a junior tries to say something, no, that's rubbish. No, are you even thinking? So the people below you now start to shrink. Okay, no, these things we should be leaving to the boss. That's not what we are looking at. Supervising and monitoring stuff and giving support allows you to actually move with the whole team to achieve the results that are required. Another last skill really is about feedback. Feedback, as much as it looks like it's a simple thing, it is a very difficult thing, because there are two sides to it. There's a positive side, there's a negative side. If the employee below you is not doing what you expect, how do you actually talk to them? This is why we talk about a lot of training. There are times when your own anger, you start now, relieving it on the juniors. Your own boss, your superior has shouted at you, you carried all that anger,
It's a channel.
It's a channel. In psychology, we call it transference. This is where you would have wanted to even maybe, explode in front of your own boss, but you can't, because it could result in serious things. So you carry your bottle, all that anger, now you are coming to release it on your juniors. That, unfortunately, is what happens in transference. So now, that is not the way it should be. So when it comes to feedback, we are saying you need to invest again in building those skills that allow you to be able to look at the actual issue. What is the issue? Remember again, when you tell people, this is what I talk about, you are unable to do anything proper here. What are you saying? You cannot tell people that they are unable to do anything while they have been working with you. Now you're generalizing. Again, there are a lot of these psychological biases that maybe in future we'll have time to talk about when it comes to feedback and all those kind of things. When you are generalizing, it also means that you have just killed that person. Instead of focusing on the issue, you need to be able to zero in on the issue. What was the issue that they failed to do maybe on time? Also, as a supervisor, you need to also look at what was your own part to all this. Because sometimes maybe your juniors were telling you something and you never took it serious, and then things have gone bad. So when it comes to feedback, you need to be able to sit down and say, if it's a negative issue, how do you actually tell it to the team? Because studies in psychology and management have clearly shown that when a leader can actually even in the middle of negative things, they can actually give positive feedback to the person, help them to see where the problem is, but to say it in a manner that doesn't really injure the person. That individual, the employee, is likely to now apply themselves even more because they feel empowered, rather than now being, killed all of a sudden. The same thing applies even on the positive side. How do you say the positive things? How do you give positive feedback? How do you make the employee actually feel that they have done something well? Do you also just generalize it, where the person can't see even what was the impact, or you're able to actually say, no, look, I like the way you are able to analyze this issue. I like the way you are able to deliver this thing on time, because you're focusing on specifics. That starts to build that person, because then they know, okay, this behavior which is, positively reinforced is a behavior that I should probably repeat more. So feedback is one of the key skills at management level.
Well explained, Mr. Kabanda. I know we've talked about this issue when we're discussing youth in employment, but since it has been coming up, can you please, if you can explain more about handling workplace friendships as a leader? I know you did mention a little about it, but if you can explain more about it.
Yeah, so again, friendships, it's like the way I've said it even in the past. Friendship is not a bad thing. When you have been promoted, it is not a bad thing. We are not saying now you now lose all your friends now because you are a boss. Like we've said before, remain just the person you are. Just a simple person. A position is just a position. And this is why we say, why do you get excited? When you are a boss, you are a boss. You have been given that position, you get paid a high salary for that position. So there is no need to make everybody feel too small, because now everyone should feel I'm the boss. Even my friends, I should now, trample on them. No. You're just a human being at the end of the day. We are all human beings at the end. Those positions simply are put there for you to coordinate, the work in the department or a section, or the work of the whole institution if you are sitting at a CEO's level. So friendships will be there. Have the friends, but what is clear and what is extremely important is draw clear lines between work and friendship. You cannot let your friends be let if they are not performing. You can't say anything to them. No, guys, you see, no.
But I think that's where the problem, Mr. Kabanda, usually comes in, because we are friends. I'm friends with my manager, and I do something wrong. I wouldn't expect that friend. You are my boss, but I don't expect you to start snapping and whatnot. So I think that's where the problem comes in, when people say you can't be friends with your boss.
No. Look, I know people, say these things. You can't be friends with your boss. Also, if you're a boss, you cannot be friends with your juniors. I don't subscribe to that.
You don't?
No, because look at it this way. Even when you're in a team, okay, you can still be friends. Even in a home with your elder brother or sister, you can still be friends, but you respect them that they are your elder brother or sister. Even when it comes to work, it's one and the same concept. When you have been given that position, what is key again is for you to make things very clear in terms of how you're going to work. Remember, this is where we're coming from, around issues of you putting the team together and making things very clear in terms of where you want to go, as well as what you expect from each team member. Now, I know that it's not very easy, and we see this a lot even in workshops, where people say, no, you see, I was trying to tell the guys to say, no, we need to even come on time, we need to deliver this, and my friend just said, guy, we are cheating together, so don't be too hard on us. It is normal, but you need to be very firm. Okay, you need to just be in a space where when it is work, it is work. When we need to have fun, we are going to have fun. We'll do whatever, we'll dance, we'll do whatever it is you're going to do. That is okay. But when it comes to work, the line has to be drawn. Let us just be here and treat each other as superior. and this one is the targets that you have been given, deliver on them. And you have to also be seen as a boss or a leader. You need to be seen to be fair, because this is also where we lose it. Because John is my friend, I play with him, we go to drink together, or we do parties together, or our children, they play together. When John is not performing, I can't say anything. When Jane is also not performing, I'm so hard on Jane. Why? So the way I treat John is the way I should treat Jane. The way I treat Mary is the way I should treat Tembo, whoever it is that you're working with. Point is, be fair, but be firm where people have to do what they need to do, and be very clear. Favoritism is one thing that starts to kill you as a new manager, because people are able to read through. And this is not only just like your friends, like if you are a male, your male friends, or your female friend. It also goes to even things like your relatives. If you have relatives within the institution, they should be treated like anybody else. Not that because we know each other, we're at home, they should be treated fairly like anybody else. If you have your own special person at work, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your wife, your husband, they should be treated the same. Because what starts to happen is that as you try to treat one group in a special manner, the other people are watching, and definitely they will start to feel that there's favoritism in your section, or your department, or in your company, and that now starts to just erode everything, because now they say, okay, we'll see them. So for me, advice on this issue is treat everybody the same, treat them as human beings, and just be friends with everybody, but be very clear about what is expected of yourself and what is expected of your team members for you to achieve the targets of your section, or your unit, or your company.
I hope new managers are learning from what you are saying, Mr. Kabanda. If we can also talk about the imposter syndrome in young managers, your take about this? Yeah,
so there will be, these things, they always happen. You are appointed, especially for young people, you are appointed as a manager. Sometimes, yes, it feels like maybe you don't deserve to be in that position. And sometimes people actually make it very clear to your face that you're nothing, or maybe you're just appointed because the company didn't have an option, or this whole thing, it was just a fluke. So people can actually make you feel really, really bad about the fact that you are holding that position. And that could start make you feel like really you're an imposter, like you've said. But the issue, Patricia, is when you feel like that, you should know that this is a normal thing. It happens to a lot of people. Okay? Even when you have been a manager for some time, sometimes they'll give you a particular assignment, and you feel, am I actually, do I have the capacity to actually do this? So it doesn't just happen to the young managers like you are saying. Even when you have a lot of years of experience, sometimes it will be an assignment that will be given, which will start making you feel like maybe I was actually not ready for this. So when it comes to that imposter syndrome, one of the things we advise is, please sit down and look at what are the skills that are actually required. Which area do you feel inadequate in? Remember, we've been saying one and the same thing. Focus on personal growth all the time. What skills do you need to have? There's no need for you to feel now you have to be desperate. And this is why sometimes, because you feel like an imposter now, you want now to start, overreacting just to now prove that you are actually the manager. Those things are not necessary. Sometimes it requires certain drastic changes to be made. So whatever happens, you have to know that you have to make decisions. We want to remain popular? I don't know. Sometimes management is not the position you should have. But we are not against saying making decisions just for purposes of making decisions, and like we have said, because people have to feel my weight. That's not the kind of decision we're discussing here. We're talking about decisions that are meant to help the institution. Decisions that have been thought through very well, decisions that help not only yourself, but also the team to move forward. But if it means the decision has to be a painful one, again, it has to be made. So decision making really is one of the biggest issues around management that those who have been appointed to be managers should start being comfortable with. And if you are not very comfortable with that, invest again, go for training. They help you to make decisions. Again, decisions have to be made in a timely manner. If you take so much time, remember, first thing we said, make informed decisions. Secondly, we are saying make these decisions in a timely manner. If the decision needed to be made today and you are taking 3 years to make that decision, certain things would have changed along the way, and the decision you're making at that point might not have the desired impact.
Amazing. To our viewers, if you have questions or contributions about our topic of discussion, please use the number which is right on your TV screen. I have been receiving some calls, but if you have a question, please send us a text message and we'll read it right here. Mr. Kabanda, if you can also share a bit of some do's and don'ts when it comes to handling team conflicts when such arise as a new manager. I believe these are things we can't run away from. Always encounter situations of conflicts in organization. Your take about this? Yeah, so really conflicts, like we have said, they will always come because like in Bemba, we say, miti parameni kwesana. So whenever like 2 trees are near each other, they are going to have that friction. So even in employment, in the workplaces, conflicts will come up at some point. So the key issue when you're a manager is, first of all, understand what the situation is. We always emphasize, don't jump to take sides, because sometimes the person who came first to you, you already made the decision, the other one is a bad person. No, don't jump to those kind of conclusions. First of all, understand what the problem is, what exactly is the problem, and then try now to really look at what are the possible solutions to the problems. Again, attend the trainings around conflict management. Those are things that are going to always happen. So be equipped with the skills to bring people together. Understand, sometimes we advise that you understand people in separate places. Once you understand them, then you map out a solution, a time you bring them together, and things of that nature. Sometimes, even out of these conflicts, like we've said, sometimes these conflicts could lead to certain hard decisions being made, where maybe one of the people that you think actually is working against the whole team and the desires of the section or department may have to be taken out. But that is in the worst case scenario. Most of the times you should be looking at conflict management and being able to actually bring parties together so that the whole team can then come back to start working together to achieve the departmental goals. Amazing, Mr. Kabanda. I know you have warned us quite a number of times, not just once, about not getting so much information and that people should always come for the workshops if we want to learn more. However, but you being a neuropsychologist, and we have you right now in the studio, so we can just let you go. Would like to hear more about the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership. Yes, so, so we can't let you go. Yeah, so when it comes to, it's okay, we can discuss a bit. When it comes to emotional intelligence, really all these things that we're talking about, you have to understand that when you're appointed as a manager, you're not a manager of just the equipment or the bulldozers, the machines and whatever equipment or laptops. You're going to be a manager of people. And that requires you to really, first of all, understand yourself. I will be very summarized in the way I tackle that issue. Again, invest heavily in understanding people. Understand yourself, first of all. Who is you? What makes you, what's your personality? What kind of leadership style do you actually use? There are so many different types of leadership styles that are there. Issues of things that actually trigger you to be happy, what triggers you to be upset. You need to be in a space where you can know that, okay, at this point I'm actually starting to feel angry. You need to be able to also control yourself. It's not just awareness around yourself, your thoughts and your feelings. There are those, like in cognitive behavioral therapy, where you look at the thoughts, the behaviors, and the emotions. The issue is you need to pay attention to yourself, and you should be able to control yourself. Then you now need to now understand other people. When the person is coming to you with whatever problem they have, whatever challenge, or the employee is behaving in a particular manner, what does that actually mean?
So emotional intelligence really is a very critical component of leadership, and I would encourage people to actually spend a lot of time and energy in actually investing in emotional intelligence, because you can be very smart in terms of your intellectual quotient, your IQ, but if you don't have emotional intelligence, it becomes difficult for you to lead others, because when you have high emotional intelligence, even people feel okay to approach you, to talk to you, and they will feel that you are really caring for them. We are not saying that you are carrying everybody's burden, or you are there just like the one who solve, but make the environment suitable and conducive for people to feel that you are there for them, and you can actually work as a team, and you value them and you care for them.
Mr. Kabanda, if you can also briefly maybe talk about the strategies for managing up and interacting with your own superiors as a manager. Do you need to be updating your boss on, every little thing that is happening?
Yeah, when you're a new manager, sometimes it can be confusing. On one end, you're the boss, but on the other hand, you also have bosses.
Yes.
So if you're a supervisor, you have a manager on top. If you're a manager, maybe you have a director on top. You have a director, you have a CEO on top. You're a CEO, you have a board on top of you. So there's always someone on top. So the key issue is be very clear about, first of all, what they desire to achieve, what is it that they are focusing on, and when they have given you the work, go and do the work, and also give the superiors updates. Again, focus on finding solutions to problems. Superiors like to have a manager who is focused on problem solving. I remember my own boss, the CEO, when I was at Entrepreneurs Financial Center. When he came from Canada, he used to tell us, you're either a storyteller or you're a manager. Okay, so don't be a storyteller. Be a manager who solves problems and get things done.
Maybe we can also talk about the issue of making reports, which may seem to be a big issue at management level. If you can also share with us, Mr. Kabanda, on this, and why it is so important for the stakeholders to just have such kind of a thing.
Yes, so when it comes to reports, again, it's important that you understand that when you're now a manager, you need to actually understand how to do reports. When you are a junior, you're at a lower level, maybe you're just giving, we worked on this, and you're sending to your boss. But now when you're up there with a number of people, how do you actually consolidate these reports? So understand the stakeholders, if these reports are going to the boards, if this report is just for your CEO, or your whichever is your superior, whoever is your superior, you need to be very clear about what they're actually looking for, understand the formats, understand also the frequency. Is this to be done on a weekly basis, monthly or quarterly, or every 6 months or 1 year? So be very clear about those reports, because those are the things that help to see what you are doing. So it's like that dashboard that allows your top management or your superiors to see how you are working with your team. So on the part of reports, again, if you have a challenge with that, sit down with your superiors to understand how to do the reports, or get the necessary training for that.
Amazing, Mr. Kabanda. Before I let you go, if you can briefly maybe talk about some common pitfalls for young leaders and avoidance strategies.
Yeah, some common pitfalls really will be around you not, first of all, understanding what is expected of you. Like we said at the beginning, if you really don't understand, you end up being all over the place. The other pitfall at a manager's level is where you fail to understand your own role, where you start being all over the place. Again, that becomes a challenge. The other issue is where you fail to manage the people below you. You need to be in a space where you can actually manage them and work as a team. And where you find that there are people that cannot work in the team, again, you talked about decision making. Be able to make decisions that allow the team to survive and achieve the overall goal. Give chance to people to change, but if they can't change, you have to make the necessary decisions. So over and above, really for me, the pitfalls that one has to look at is those things that I've talked about, but also where you become comfortable, where you are not growing yourself, you are not investing in learning or consulting, because you try to rely on old skills, those will kill you. You need a new set of skills at every level that you reach.
Mr. Kabanda, this has been an amazing conversation, and I hope our viewers have really enjoyed this program. Your final words of encouragement in how the new managers can continue growing as leaders.
Yeah, really, like we've been saying, if you get your promotion or you get appointed to be a manager at a high level, it's congratulations. You should be really proud of yourself, and always remember that you are holding that position. I always tell people, consider it as a privilege. It's not something now that something you have to now start, pushing everybody around. Consider it as a privilege, and just do your level best in that job. Invest in learning, and learning does not ever end. Learn more from other people, have mentors to support you, and just really continue applying yourself and make sure that you work very well with your team to achieve the goals of your section, your department, or the company as a whole.
Mr. Kabanda, thank you very much for making time to be on Labor Matters.
Thank you so much. I'm really glad to be here, and wishing our viewers and the new managers all the best.
Amazing. Thank you very much. To our viewers who've been watching Labor Matters right here on KBN TV, 279 DSTV, 27 Go TV, 102 Topstar. We're streaming this program live on our Facebook page. So if you have just joined us, please do go on our Facebook page, which is KBN TV, and you will find this program. So today we're looking at an interesting topic, leadership skills for new managers. That is what we were looking at today. And thank you very much to every person who's managed to send in the text messages and those that have commented on our Facebook page. We really appreciate. To our viewers, if you've just watched Mr. Kabanda for the first time, he is an employment expert in Zambia. So feel free to get in touch whenever you need assistance or